Let's talk a little bit about rotation. So, Rotation Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the new episode came out, and oh boy, every time Rotation comes out, there is a new sticker in my stew that I have to just sort of deal with. I'm of the opinion that the most recent episode is our best one yet. I think that Dan did a yeoman's service with it. I think it ended up really cool. I think we did a lot better about storytelling and about giving people something to root for. Predictably, the comments are the worst they have ever been. Real quick, I want to pull up some of the comments that I got. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. Okay. At the start of this project, Joseph really said, Salamangrate can't make access code. They'll be fine for the format. So first, with respect to me and Salamangrate, I want to say right here, I don't think Salamangrate is in a bad position relative to the rest of the decks prior to the thing that I do at the end of the video. I think that it is competitive with the rest of the decks. I feel like if we release more powerful cards in subsequent sets, we could very easily eclipse it in terms of power level. I was excited to watch that occur. But every time there's a new rotation, it would mean that Salamangrate is de facto the best deck, and the new set would have to have cards that are competitive with it at like immediately or else. And that's something I don't think I can guarantee from a design perspective. I don't want to play, is Salamangrate the best deck every time we introduce a new set? So for that reason, I do want it to be a little lower in terms of power level. Where it ends up now, I think is okay. But let me see if Salad tops again, Joseph has the responsibility to admit that Salad was a mistake and entirely remove or replace it in the core set. So this one was edited because originally it said if Salad wins again, but then realized that I had taken the proper precautions to prevent that from happening. I'll just say this right now, Salamangrate is going to top again. There's like, not a ton of playable decks in a 2-set format. Blue Eyes has topped every tournament as well, but for some reason no one is calling for Blue Eyes to be destroyed. Let me see if I can scroll down here to get to the one I really wanted to talk about. NC Conroy is very correct here. So in order to make the games a little more watchable, EdoPro is not a very viewer-friendly client. So what we did was we cropped it in such a way that it was just the game, and that caused the life points and the names to be cropped out just because of the orientation I have them in. This is something we're going to fix for the next episode. And to the people who were not given proper credit because of that, sorry. I will find a way to make it right. In the next one, I would like to shout out the people who won with Salamangrate 3 times in a row. I think that would be very funny. Let me see if I can find. Oh man, has it gotten beat? Did they delete it? Oh, this is one I keep seeing. Still can't figure out why he picked Salad as the Link deck to start with. There's so many more Link decks at a more reasonable power level to use. So because we curate the cards that are released, we can decide what the power level of the released archetype is. Look at how many Duel Links decks were crazy in paper, but just never translated because they didn't have all their really powerful tools. But I do want to say, I still stand by the decision to pick Salamangrate. I don't think there is another Link deck that I would want in there over Salamangrate. Remember, the purpose of rotation is to make duels comprehensible, cards less complicated, end boards less generic, and teach people kind of the fundamentals of each summoning mechanic. And I don't think there's another deck that does that as well. A lot of people floated Code Talkers. Code Talkers is every summoning mechanic. A lot of people floated World Chalice. Both Code Talkers and World Chalice are bullshit, boring-ass 9-minute combo decks, which is a type of design we're trying to not run into in rotation Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, oh joy, a U-Link. I'm so happy we got to see that. Someone floated G-Golem, which is a very interesting decision, but unfortunately G-Golem has 4 cards in it. We want the capacity to be able to determine the power level ourselves, and the more cards are available for an archetype, the easier that is. And also we want the deck to be able to play in different formats in different capacities. Like, at some point, we'll rotate the format and maybe we'll take out like the Balinks that is in this one, and now Salamangreat is a synchro deck that is meant to play Weasel. That would be kind of cool, I think. And then some people were like, you should do Sky Striker. And I'm like, no, that breaks the fundamental rules of what Link Summoning is supposed to be. I think one of the only interesting ones I heard was Crusadia, but I can't figure out a way to make Crusadia work that isn't so frustrating that I want to jump off a bridge. Tindangle? No. Let's see if I can, find, did the person actually delete it? It was like a top comment yesterday. Oh, yeah, this one I don't like. It all starts with a good core set. We should have started with generic good stuff decks that support extra deck types with specific material requirements. I don't believe that at all. One of the design goals going into the core set was to make archetypes that theoretically could be splashed elsewhere. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is archetypes, and I don't want to see, here's Breaker the Magical Warrior for the 90th time. Can I seriously not find this? Did they get rid of it? Oh, I think they might have actually deleted it. It was a well liked comment early on. Here's one that's similar. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I love how even MBT admits rotation format is dumb. So this one's funny because I don't. But a lot of these comments seem to boil down to Salamangreat's extended dominance proves rotation as an argument is wrong, and I don't know how people are coming to that conclusion. To me, the argument for rotation is, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, because every set has to be competitive with every previous set, they have to print cards that are more complex and do more things every single new pack. If you rotate the format, you can keep the power level artificially lower, making cards less complicated, games more comprehensible, and ensuring that there's not a race to the bottom in terms of generic negates. The point of rotation is not to make Salamangreat good or bad, right? In my view, Salamangreat could be an incredibly good deck the entire time rotation exists, and the argument could still be correct. I'm not trying to prove that by rotating I can invent a diverse format. I'm trying to prove that the game can be simpler and more welcoming to new players. In fact, I think there's an argument that you could have a one-deck format and the thesis of rotation could still be proved. It's strange because I'm arguing for a way to decrease the complexity in Yu-Gi-Oh!, but everyone's pretending that I'm arguing I can make a format where Salamangreat isn't the top deck, and then I keep failing at it. That's not what I'm trying to do. But it's actually much easier to win an argument if you decide what your opponent is arguing before you enter the argument. That said, I think so far we have created a very diverse format, despite the fact that Salads won every tournament except for one, which was like an unofficial tournament DM one. Each one of the top 8s has had like 5 to 7 different decks in it, which is neat. I think that's really cool. And I think that moving Salad down will prevent it from winning the next one. Fingers crossed. In terms of rotation as a video series, I don't think it's too ridiculous to point out that it has been pretty inconsistent. And that's because Dan and I have been trying to figure out a kind of editing that works for this kind of storytelling. And we've been trying to figure out an upload schedule that makes sense for everyone. It had the misfortune of being sandwiched between the subathon and a YCS and a surgery and an illness. And now I, knock on wood, think we are finally in a position where we can have them regularly again. And I like the way they are being edited. But in terms of editing, do really sound off about what you want to see or don't want to see in future ones, because we are still tinkering with it. It is a huge undertaking. In terms of future sets, there is a new set in the works right now. it's going to be an 80 card set, a smaller one that will be legal at the same time as Duelist Kingdom Ascendant and the set that comes after it as well. I don't want to divulge too much information about it, but if you are a Patreon at any tier, we've uploaded a very, very, very rough draft of the cards and strategies that we are seeking to include. So if you want to try them out, feel free to. And then do let me know if anything's fucking busted in them because, we can't catch everything. Dovetail Echo, thank you for the 5. Is the idea of having someone designing original cards to include in a rotation set at all realistic, or is that too far outside the scope of the format? I'm really glad you brought that up. We're not doing it for the DM ones or the GX ones, but it's something that I would consider for like future sets that have summoning mechanics that maybe aren't accessible in the way they would need to be relative to the series. Like 5Ds is all about synchroing. It's going to be hard to make a series of compatible tuners, but that's something that's something that will be decided months from now. CG Alex, thank you for the 5. My one rotation complaint is the new set didn't have zombie cards to be released alongside Halloween for seasonal clickbait. Maybe we just kick Mako out and we put the zombie cards in. Okay, I'll tell you about one of the new archetypes in rotation. We'll spoil a little bit on there. We're doing Bandit Keith shit. When I say Bandit Keith shit, I mean like Dark Machines. That's Desperado Barrel Dragon, Heavy Metal Raiders, shit like that. And I'm super excited. It will contain some cards that are very new. Some of the Legacy Machina stuff we are working with at present, but we don't know. If it's going to make it out. I mean, Ruin Force is a fucking insane card. Anyway. I remain optimistic about rotation Yu-Gi-Oh, but it is very frustrating to see people show up in the comments and be like, I knew rotation would be bad for Yu-Gi-Oh because a deck that had 2 copies in the top 8 ended up winning, which disproves the thesis that the games can be comprehensible after watching 5 comprehensible games, I think Yu-Gi-Oh players, and this sounds really mean, don't have the brain cells to conceive of arguing about formats the way that like Magic the Gathering players do. We're so new to the concept of there even being alternate formats that we can only evaluate if a format is good or bad based on if the same deck wins multiple events in a row. And that... that is what it is. Again, this isn't meant to be like Yu-Gi-Oh players are dumb and stupid. Yu-Gi-Oh has only had one format for 90% of its lifespan. You had people saying similar shit about Edison when Blackwing won a couple of events over the course of a month and a half. Again, what we're trying to prove here isn't necessarily that Salamangreat must be good or bad. It's that Yu-Gi-Oh can be reduced to a point where decks are comprehensible and games are interesting. Crab Spite. Bro, how can you prove rotation is bad? We haven't even rotated yet. Correct. Legitimately correct. One thing that has been imparted to me about this is that if you all think Salamangreat is powerful, I encourage you to look at any Link deck ever. Because, oh my god, it is so hard to balance around Links. I didn't realize just how unbelievable the jump was in terms of how Yu-Gi-Oh games are played the second we got Links that did something. So I don't know. Someone asked about Pendulum. We will be trying to... I will just say this. I am pretty much always looking to include a Pendulum archetype. But any pendulum archetype we include is going to be exactly one set long and have no generic support available whatsoever. It's going to be super xenophobic. And the unfortunate reality of the situation is that's the only way it can happen. Joseph played Draco Pal. Thanks, Farfa. All right, that's all I'm going to say about rotation for now. I know that I've mostly been silent about rotation, and that's because I've been frustrated about getting exactly this video out. I think it turned out really, really well, and I'm reinvigorated to take the format very seriously, to tinker with lists pretty expansively, and to get you all something that I can be excited about showing you, and you all can be excited about playing, despite the fact that I know no matter what I upload, 50% of the comments are going to be like, I watched a video 2 years ago that purported to be a video essay about why rotation is bad. Have you seen the 7 Deadly Sins of Game Design by some guy that no one knows? So, you know. For now, I will be disregarding all rotation doesn't work comments until we rotate and it doesn't work. Oh, and there's also a lot of people in the comments who are mad that I'm talking shit on the people in the comments. If your comments were better, I wouldn't be talking shit on you. Thank you. Case in point, there are a significant number of critical comments about the formatting of the video that I did take to heart and that I do intend to integrate into future episodes. I really do value feedback, but the feedback has to be good. Real quick, I want to showcase a very interesting comment in the thread that I reply to, where I talk about salad. Let me see if I can find it. Isn't it supposed to tell you if you've replied to one of these? Oh, my God. YouTube is not a good website. It just doesn't work. Thank you, Salaman Great's Strongest. I can't find it now. I saw it earlier. But someone replied to my comment in which I'm like, I still think that salad's... Oh, here it is. I was like, I still think that salad's the pick, you know, I get your frustration. This person immediately replied to, basically in a lower format, best deck are always circling around these criteria. Resiliency to back row and disruption, consistency, draw power, and slot afford said staples. Salman Great checked all those points and consistently hit top deck and duel links. You should expect this to happen in your format as well, no matter what you're doing. If not Salman Great, it will be something closer to that. Try to use OCG philosophy by hitting consistency of a deck and you will see salad gone from your tournament. You want a really diverse format? Find archetypes that is consistent but needs 3 to 2 cards in hand to start combo, but resilient enough to not dies from a single interrupt and put them all in your core set. Okay, so this person is just talking out of their ass. This is what a significant amount of designers sound like when they're talking about what you should do. They're like, you should just put in the good cards that are fair and not the bad cards that are unfair. Case in point, Salman Great does not have 1-card combos in this format for the simple reason that there is nothing to do with them. I guess it has one card combo that ends on Baylink's Pass. Secondly, every deck in the format does have resiliency to back row, consistency, and availability of staples. Look at B Trooper Earthbox is just staples, and finally, to hit top deck and duel links is also true of Hero, which sucks dick. At the end of the day, they're like, you want a diverse format? We lead this video by saying there's 7 decks in the top 8. This is what I'm talking about when I say like, most of the people are just talking out of their ass in terms of game design. People internalize like game design understanding, but you have to be able to regurgitate it in a way that's cohesive and isn't just, you should put the good card in and not the bad card in. You leave Hero alone? Okay, all right. I mean, it's not that bad. It's crazy, actually. The Hero deck from this event, we didn't get to show them off because all their wins were blowouts. It was actually really interesting. It was not bad. It was playing a really small hero package, though. Calling it hero was eh. All right. Regrettably, okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk to